Vagabond is absolutely beautiful, but you probably already knew that coming into this video. Takehiko Inoue being one of the greatest mangaka in the industry purely from an artistic perspective, Vagabond's reputation for being one of the most gorgeous manga out there that you can read is definitely warranted. Even more so when this is the same person that has made series like Rio and Slam Dunk, which are highly acclaimed in their own right. But as someone who came into Vagabond already knowing that the art in the series is absolutely phenomenal, I generally wanted to see if the story itself was going to hold up, even despite what feels like an endless hiatus the series is in. And after reading the entirety of Vagabond physically, yes, I have every single volume in my possession, and catching up quote unquote to the series, I want to reiterate, Vagabond is absolutely beautiful, not just because of its art, but also the story itself. Trying to explain and summarize what Vagabond as a story is about in a short span of time is not only insanely difficult, but also undermines what Vagabond at its very core truly is about. Well, I've been meaning to talk about Vagabond for a while now after I read it. I want to shout out a video by Radman called The Philosophy of Vagabond. Genuinely, this is what kinda inspired this video to some extent and has made me truly reflect on why I love and appreciate Vagabond as a story so damn much. So I definitely recommend you to watch this video right after mine if you want a deeper dive into Takehiko Inoue and his mindset in regards to making Vagabond. So go watch that as well. If you ask me to only use one phrase to describe to some extent what Vagabond is about, then I would go with self-discovery. Takezo, or famously known by the anime manga community as Miyamoto Musashi, goes on what feels like a very self-introspective journey into finding who he is as a person, whilst at the same time trying to understand and get better at using the sword. And while this is a very simplistic way of looking at what Vagabond is about, the more you look into the series, the plenty of depth you're going to find. The first major arc of the series is where we see Takezo transform into Miyamoto Musashi and breaking this cycle of just endless anger and violence, and now he feels somewhat more focused. Not perfect, but still getting there. And as the story progresses after that point, we see Musashi slowly but surely finding himself as a person, and in these very moments of introspection, we see quotes, we see particular pieces of dialogue and thought that isn't just inspirational for people who want to know the way of the sword, but any endeavor that you yourself as a person want to go at, you're able to take these quotes and apply it into your own life. It generally feels like this manga is giving you life lessons as Musashi himself is trying to improve as a person. And things get even much more introspective when we have characters like Matahashi, who is essentially a hedonist who follows pleasures above his very own friend at the beginning of the series, get his comeuppance, and we see him reflect on his actions and why what he did was wrong and why he fucked his own life to some degree, and now is desperately trying to fix it as a way to finally make his mother proud. It generally is phenomenal introspective stuff that I truly appreciate, and it never gets stale. It always feels personal, it always feels down to earth, and with a series that essentially does this a lot, you would think that something like this would get repetitive, but it genuinely never misses a single step. It genuinely feels amazing to witness every single time. Even Musashi trying to come to terms with the feelings with Otsu genuinely feels so wholesome that it feels so satisfying to witness how much Musashi grows from how he started in the series to where he's at now. The difference is so staggering, it is insane, and truly none of that wouldn't have worked if it wasn't for the introspection moments that Musashi goes through whenever he clashes with other characters in the series in very technically amazing battles that feel spectacular with how Takehiko Inoue puts his pen to work. And this is where we get to talk about the art. When it comes to either self-introspection moments with Musashi as he looks within himself to the fights that happen in the series, the art feels as if Takehiko Inoue put his entire soul and being into the series. The inspiration, the passion, the effort, the love of just being a mangaka feels so fucking prevalent every single page you read of the series. And as someone who read majority of Vagabond physically with all of the big volumes, I cannot describe to you how amazing it felt to see the art of this man in my bare hands. It truly was one of the greatest reading experiences I've ever had with manga. It is absolutely phenomenal, man. It's something that you just can't describe to people. You just have to give them the damn volumes. Go ahead, go read them, and you're going to see the absolute passion this man has. It is fucking nuts, man. There are points that it generally doesn't feel as if you're just reading a regular manga anymore. It just feels like Takehiko Inoue is just putting his own thoughts and perspectives and ideas from the story of the real life Miyamoto Musashi and just putting it into the manga and just seeing what sticks, and just somehow everything just fucking does. And it's so good to the point in which there's the conversation of Vagabond never being able to get adapted into an anime because of how good this is. And while I disagree with that notion, I think that it can be possible for sure. I can't really blame people for maybe not thinking the same way. This manga is absolutely phenomenal in how it portrays everything that's taking place, from just mere conversations between the characters, between genuine thought and reflection from the characters, to the action scenes themselves. Every single aspect of the story that is Vagabond truly gets put artistically at a 100%. This is why whenever I see Musashi essentially drop these gem of quotes, it literally makes me want to get up, go outside, and just start jogging around my neighborhood. It makes you want to get up and do shit. And that is truly what makes Vagabond a manga that is beyond just a story that you consume for the sake of the plot. It makes you want to reflect on your own personal life. It makes you want to get better, not just from a place of health, not just from a place of artistic expression, just from any aspect of life in general. It makes you want to improve yourself. And that is what helps Vagabond stand on its own on a sea of plenty of good seinen stories out there. This is why whenever the conversation of the best seinen manga of all time, this is why Vagabond comes up in the conversation consistently. This is why. And while majority of the series is pretty much absolutely phenomenal to me, the Farmland Arc in Vagabond is truly one of the greatest arcs of all time. The thematic execution of Musashi's character growth, the desperation with starvation that takes place in this village, the struggle of trying to get food, the way in which these ideas get explored and get showcased with Takehiko Inoue's art is fucking flawless. It is so flawless, it absolutely has me speechless at how good this was, man. Reading this entire arc was a genuine roller coaster of emotions, and it genuinely shows why Vagabond gets unbelievable amounts of praise. For the people that feel as if like Vagabond gets hyped to high heavens, I can definitely understand their frustrations, as the series doesn't feel all of that. It doesn't feel this extremely complex, the most insane story of all time, but it's really about personal growth. It's about wanting to get better. Musashi is not a good person in the slightest. This man makes very morally questionable decisions throughout the entire story, but in that process of trying to get better, we see genuine moments of wanting to get better, of emotions being expressed into trying to better yourself, ways in which people can view the world when it comes to destiny, when it comes to being one with the universe. These things really get executed in a way that makes you reflect on your own life and how you see the world. And when you add all of these components together, you get a story that isn't just about wanting to tell basic themes, basic ideas for the sake of telling a story. It is no longer about that anymore. It is much more than that. Now, it is about wanting to teach people life lessons that make you get better, that make you want to improve yourself, that make you want to change who you are down at the very core. And that is why Vagabond is absolutely beautiful. With all of that being said, I want to know your own thoughts on Vagabond as a story, and if you have not, under any way circumstance, have not read Vagabond yet, please, for the love of God, do so. I couldn't possibly recommend this series enough. It has turned into one of my favorite mangas of all time. Take it as someone who has only read the series just a few months ago. So that's really all I have for this video. If you want to give me your thoughts about Vagabond, leave it in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like as well as subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And with that, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day wherever you are. See you guys next time.